So in this next section, I've put some pieces together here from David Icke. Now I know for some people David Icke is a little controversial, but what I was looking for was the way he talked about informational waveforms. He talked about formation. Everything is information. And it's really precious the way you put it together. So what you're going to see here is that everything is energy and everything is frequency and everything is an informational field. In fact, later in this video he talks about water as an informational field, and then he ties it down with Dr. Emoto around hidden messages of water, and he actually talks about pollution being rogue information. You'll see some really cool ways here that he talks about the biocomputer and the actually human being as a computer. I think you'll really enjoy this.
So we have what I call the body computer, a biological computer. Biological in the sense that instead of like a desktop computer, you put information in and you press enter, and as programmed it responds. A biological computer has the ability to assess information and make decisions about it, which is what the immune system is doing all the time, 24/7, without any input from us. So the reason that they're able now to connect the brain directly to computers is because they're connecting two computers, one fantastically more advanced than the other, but still basically two computers. And form is information. Our base state is awareness. Doesn't have form, it's just awareness. But we come into the realms of form, and form is created from information. And so if you look at the body, it's just like a computer in its basic sense. You know, when the computer don't work anymore, won't switch on, what do you say? My computer's dead. It goes into sleep mode to save energy. It has an antivirus system. That's our immune system. Best antivirus system ever. The brain is the central processing unit. And then you have DNA, which is basically the hard drive. And the senses are decoding systems, decoding information into a form that the brain can decode. So the senses are taking waveform information, vibrational information, they're turning into electrical information, they are communicating it to the brain, which then decodes that into a sense of reality we call the world we live in. So you look at the motherboard of the body. That is the system of meridian lines of energy used in acupuncture, which take information around the body. You know, when information is passing around the computer too slowly, things start to malfunction. And what do we say? My computer's so slow today. Yes, because the information is not passing around at optimum level. When the information is not passing around these chakra systems and meridian line systems, then the computer malfunctions. We call it dis-ease, disharmony. What the acupuncturist is doing is using these needles and other techniques to make sure the flow of energy, information around the meridian system is optimum. Information is encoded in what we call light. White light contains all the colors of the spectrum. Isaac Newton called the rainbow a spectrum because out of the Latin word for apparition or phantom, that's where we get the word spectre from. And colors are frequencies. Illusion, colors are frequencies. They're just different frequencies, and when we decode them, we see that color. And we think those flowers are red and yellow. They're not. Nothing has any color. The color is decided in our perception of it by whether it reflects certain frequencies or whether it absorbs certain frequencies. We're only seeing light that reflects. Thus, we're only seeing that color which is reflected by the object, therefore it seems to be that color. This is the scale of the illusion that we think is real. And even, you know, some of these various things that you come across in science, hydrogen and carbon and nitrogen, you break them down on one level and they look like barcodes. And light radiation is information, and the frequency or wavelength vibration is its delivery system. The information dictates the frequency. So, I'm delivering information. I love you! And I mean it. That's the frequency. I hate you, and I mean it. That's the frequency. And thus, the information is being delivered, and as it's being delivered, it travels through light on a particular frequency relating to its nature. And this is really, I think, one of those whoa moments. As the frequency increases, the amount of energy carried by the wave also increases in proportion to the frequency. So, when you open your mind and open your heart, your frequency goes up. Provable fact, measurable. As your frequency goes up, you're now being able to hold and access more and more and more information. And thus you become more aware, more knowledgeable, more insightful, more intuitive. Now, this is an example of how information is carried by everything. Dr. Emoto, the great man from Japan, who I co-wrote a book with in Japanese some years ago, what he did was he took water, put it into little containers, and he would apply to that water sounds or words, and then he would freeze it very quickly. I've been to his place in Tokyo where he did it, and then he would photograph the water crystals in that water. And the difference in the crystals corresponding with what the water came into contact with is absolutely fantastic. This water had love and thanks written on the side of it. Beautiful. Geometrically beautiful. Harmony, natural order. This had hate, I want to kill you, on it. Look at it. And people say, well, how does that work when you put words on water and that happens? Simple. The words written are merely the holographic expression of waveform information. So those words are vibrating to a certain frequency. We see them holographically, but they're vibrating to a certain frequency. And that frequency impacts itself upon the water, and when you freeze it and photograph it, you see the impact. And so, love and appreciation. You make me sick, I want to kill you. Heavy metal music. This is why this can have a massively detrimental impact on people, because we are energy fields. So look at the auric field, it's photographable. And if it's a vibe that can impact negatively or disruptively, distortedly upon your energy field, you can have mental and emotional and what we call physical expressions as the hologram is affected. This is polluted river water. Look at it. That's what it does. Because water in its base form is an information, waveform information field, like everything else. At the Aerospace Institute in Stuttgart, Germany, they've developed a way of photographing information in water droplets. You go on the internet or YouTube and put those words in, water has memory. I'm sure it's still there. You'll be able to see the video. And so what they did is they put a flower in a big tank of water. Then they took the flower out, and then they photographed droplets from the tank. And in each droplet was the flower. That's a mock-up, obviously. It doesn't look like that. But you could see the flower information in the droplet. They then asked people from the local community to come in, and they had a big tank of water, and they asked them to take 4 droplets from the big tank and put it into a little dish with their name on. And what they found was that each person who did it, all 4 sets with each person, or all the sets, there were more than 4, were different. But all 4 taken by the individual were basically the same. Why? Because the very action of taking a droplet, putting it in a dish, the energy field of the unique individual was impacted upon the water. This is the impact that we're having on reality all the time while we think we are powerless. But what is homeopathy? They say, well, you can't dilute a substance over and over until there's no substance left and say it heals anybody. The flower was taken out of the water. The information was still there. It's the information from the substance that does the healing in homeopathy, not necessarily the substance itself physically. What is a computer virus that disrupts a computer system? It's rogue information, and that's what this is. It's rogue information. Pollution at its base waveform is just a distorted energetic information field which distorts that which it comes into contact with, which manifests in the hologram as toxic water and toxic waste.